for our summit in 2018. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the International Council on Active Aging, who joins us on stage to share his topic, How is Redefining Healthy Aging Going to Redefine Quality of Life? Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving Collin Milner a big warm welcome, please. Collin.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Collin. How's it going? Good afternoon. All right, we got to get a little bit of energy in this room, don't we? All right. Okay, so, I think they put me as the very last speaker because I'm just loud. So, first I'd like to thank the organizers of the conference for inviting myself and all the other speakers to this event. It's been a fantastic time, and the exciting part is that they've covered everything. So I'm done. Okay, well, that one didn't work. No. So before I get into the topic of redefining healthy aging and how it's going to redefine the quality of life, what I'd actually like to do is 3 simple notes. The older population is an extremely diverse group. So one-size-fits-all comments, one-size-fits-all solutions are misleading. So as I share my experiences with you, please take those for what they're worth. You have a different culture here, and figure out, do those work within your culture? I am certainly not going to be over here telling you what to do, even though that's what I'm going to do. What I can tell you is that I've been to 47 different countries on this earth, and that I've seen a lot of things and a lot of different ways that people have approached the same issues. And to be frank, many of them at the end of the day are very, very similar, just done in a different way. From the topics of socialization and social isolation, I used to get those two mixed up, to dementia and, the impact that has on the family on up. So that's my note in that. So the little channel changer. Let's get started. You guys ready to start? You ready to finish? Yeah. Okay. So let's start with a very simple thought, and that is the answer is found in the question. It depends what question you ask of what answer you're going to find. So as I set out on my journey about 25 years ago, and then most recently 18 years ago when I launched the International Council on Active Aging, which has about 10,000 organizations that participate in it, as I mentioned, in 47 different countries. I had a very, very simple question, and that was, what would the world look like if we had a population, no matter what age, that was healthy and engaged? Young, old, didn't matter. How would that impact everything from transportation systems to the ecosystem, to the competitiveness of your country, to the types of buildings that you build and the services you deliver? So I set out to actually try and answer that question, and all the stuff that you've heard has really been part of that answer. But on that journey, I found a very simple thing, and that is that the secret to change, and we're all striving to constantly create new and exciting things that are driven by change, is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old. How many times do you find that with your boss? No, we've done that 100 different times. Let's not do that. But actually to putting all of your energy into the new to see where it goes. And to actually, you own it, you burn the bridge behind you, and you move forward. So with that said, I'm going to actually give you a little bit of a different perspective than some of the speakers that you've had up here today. And that is all about, changing the way we age and changing the way we live. And over the last, really 25, 30 years, there's been a significant number of research studies that have come out, research projects, scientists all over the world that have been researching the topic of aging. Healthy aging, active aging, successful aging, all the different terms that you can use. But to me, one of the greatest things that we have found beyond all the scientific journals is one very simple truth, that all of the information that you have heard over this weekend feeds into, and that is this man. And this simple truth is around what this man brings to you. This man is Fajut Singh. Fajut Singh. I knew I would get it. I've been calling him Fajut Singh all this time. I apologize to him and his family around the world. But what does he bring to you and me and the rest of the world that most people aren't really aware of? My parents certainly weren't aware of. And that is, today we have much more potential, or are able to recognize that potential compared to in the past. I remember many years ago looking at my parents at a dining event and thinking to myself, now I was about 18 at the time, and thinking, man, they look really old. So happened that they were about 45. So, it's funny how we look at people, but Fajut Singh, has completed the marathon numerous times. His latest, I believe, was, actually he may have done one after his 100th birthday in Toronto. So how many of you are going to be completing a marathon at the age of 100? Oh, come on, there's got to be at least one. Oh, there you go. Thank you, sir. Okay. Why I bring this up isn't to point to the extreme examples, which, by the way, we're seeing a lot more of now, but to point to the fact that we have the ability to do something like this. The question is whether we embrace that ability or not. Now, there are a lot of different factors that come along throughout our life that impacts that, but the raw reality is, as human beings, our body is capable of doing X. How we challenge that body many times drives how well we may age once you incorporate that, the socialization, and all the other elements. So much so that Margaret Chan, the executive director or director general from the World Health Organization, basically came out and said, we must change the way that we look at the older population. Our thinking is flawed, and we see that there's all this potential within us. Let's change the way we age. Let's change the way we view aging. She's not the first person to say that. She certainly is not going to be the last person. But the point is that he was recognized for, his contribution to helping to start changing the narrative, which in Europe in 2017 was one of the top consumer trends. So if you think about this, and that is, we now have people who are embracing their potential much more than they used to. We now have people who are dressing in clothes very differently than they used to. My mother was told by my 12-year-old sister at the time, when she was trying to dress really cool, not to dress like that, because that's not what old people wear. Old people aren't cool, okay? Conversation has changed a lot. Now, there's still a lot of people who will dress the way they want, and this lady, of course, is dressing the way she wants, and she's not representative of every single older person out there. But the point is that there is a change in the direction of how we view the older population. Now, why am I telling you all of this? We're here for a healthcare conference. Well, the reality is it all starts with how you view your customer, how you view yourself, how you view your family. Your point of view dictates your actions and strategies moving forward. So with that said, Sarah Harper from Oxford Institute in Aging has come out with what she's calling a new stage of life, an active stage of life, where you are not looked at as old in your 70s and 80s if you were still engaged, where you really start to be seen as old, and that's a word that a lot of people kind of have a different way of looking at it, is when you lose your independence. That's when old age begins to, come into play. And the reality is, as far as the U.S. is concerned, 8 out of 10 people age 70 plus say that they can live independently. So what does all of that mean? What does that mean? Come on, what does that mean? Anyone? Here's what it means. I didn't give you a chance to answer, sorry. That we have a population that is embracing their potential and that they're not seeing themselves as old. Matter of fact, there was a research study from AARP in 2013 that actually showed that the population between the ages of 40 to 90, 85% did not see themselves as old. I have to tell you that my 106-year-old grandmother does not see herself as old. She talks about all the old people around her, but not herself, okay? That's her. There's my dad who just passed away at the age of 85 that thought he was very old. So it's all very different. But on a societal level, what happens when these two things merge together? Well, opportunity. And that's what we're going to talk about for the remaining 9 minutes and 17, 16 seconds. And that is that our current models are outdated. They're based in old ways of thinking. So we need to change that to actually provide a new model that is going to be responsive to the current and future needs of an older population. One of these that came out just a little bit after we launched, not saying we drove it because we didn't, but it came out from the World Health Organization, and that was a global framework for active aging. Now, I'm showing you our definition of active aging because I think it's a little bit more holistic, and it's really about 4 words: engaging in life. If you can help someone to remain engaged in life, as Susan's images showed, being engaged in life, going hunting at the age of over 100. I'm not sure if I'd know how to use a rifle at the age of 58, but that's a different thing. But being engaged in life, and the other new model that we have seen introduced in, I say new, because it is through the World Health Organization that calls it new, but in reality it really isn't new, and that is a redefinition of healthy aging. And this redefinition that came out in 2015 from them looked at healthy aging less about the absence of disease and more about keeping people's functional abilities at a high level. So I'm going to give you a very quick example of this. If I can get you all to stand up for a second, please. Come on, it's close to, you got 7.5 minutes left, don't worry. Okay, sit down. Come on, this is exciting. Stand up. Oh, I'm going to keep up with you, I'm moving, sit down. Come on, Susan's nearly cheating there. Stand up. Sit down. Stand up. Sit down. Stand up. Okay, no, don't worry. Okay. The reason I ask you to do that is that we have a significant challenge in front of us if we can't even do that. Okay? Today, we may go to work and we have type 2 diabetes, we may have heart disease, we may have, my wife has high blood pressure, she actually walks about 3 hours a day. But if you aren't able to do that and you cannot get out of bed, a lot of things change, okay? That is why you have also seen that in 2017, the World Health Organization came out with a focus on integrated healthcare across the continuum, and within that, once again, focus being, there were multiple recommendations in there, but at the heart of it is helping people to keep their functional abilities. Now, here's what happens as you get older. Between the ages of 35 to 70, you lose about 50% of your strength. 75% of your power. Now, what does that mean? Can I borrow you for a second? Yes, this is gonna be fun. Come on up, come on up. I have to strip down a little bit here. You guys don't mind, do you? My wife does if I put this on the ground. Oh, okay, what's your name? Sonny. Sonny, hi, I'm Collin. Come on over here, Sonny. Okay, so Sonny is about to demonstrate to you what the impact of losing 50% of our strength is, okay? So Sonny, I'm gonna get you to hop up on me, just like, I don't know, is this legal in the country? I didn't check. Is it? No. Damn, I don't wanna go to jail, man. Okay, all right, so Sonny, but make sure that, no, don't take a running start. I did that in Russia and the guy tried to jump over me, okay? So just jump up, but make sure you grab on so that you don't fall back, okay? Yes, like a little, there you go. Okay. That's a teaching moment, okay? So think about,
keep going.
On TV, is Sonny an important person? Let's take lots of pictures. Okay. Normally they're trying to whip me or something. Anyway, so think about this. If Sonny and I weighed the same, which I can guarantee you we don't, and he jumped up on me, I've lost 50% of my strength, okay? Now, do you think that would impact my quality of life by having to struggle to take Sonny with me to the grocery store? I'm not gonna throw you down. To run after the bus? To walk up the stairs? Okay. Okay. Before he gets carried away, thank you, Sonny. So, if I can get Sonny off my back, life is good. And that's why the World Health Organization has come out with this new focus on healthy aging. Okay? One of the new reasons. The other is that we lose about 75% of our power, which is our response time. And given the fact that 1 out of 3 people over the age of 65 fall, every year 50% of those fall again within that year, helping to regain your strength and your power to just simply counteract that is crucial. Poor Sonny. So here's what that looks like, and that is, there are 5 levels of function according to, Dr. Susan, I forget her name, out of Texas. And she's now retired, unfortunately. And with that, the question is, how do we address these various levels of function within our hospitals, within our practices, within our services that we offer to make sure that we can improve the individual's level of function? We do a great job giving people pills. I'm going to share a little story with you. My dad, at the age of 75, was coming to a party for my daughter, and he seemed to struggle getting out of the car, and I couldn't understand why. And he was walking up, and he wasn't stable on his legs, and I said, "Dad, what's up? You know what I mean? Oh, it must have been a long day. I'm a little over dehydrated, da-da-da." And this kept happening and happening. And I sat down with my dad, and I said, here's the facts. I travel all around the world speaking to people about what the diminishment of your capabilities will do to you. And you'll move from being highly functional to a cane, to a walker, to a bed, to the hospital, to dead. 10 years to the day of that conversation, my dad passed away, and the way he passed away was exactly the trajectory that was projected. Now, I tell you this because you within this room can do a lot more than just simply speak to people about the medical side of the equation. That's only one side of the conversation. The other is, how do I live the life I want? How do I embrace my potential, whether it's as an artist, whether it's as a photographer, whether it's as a marathon runner, whatever it may be. And to remember that function isn't just about the physical being. Function is about the social connections, the function of connecting. Function is about the cognitive abilities that we have and how we utilize those and how we try and reduce the risk factors. But we don't do a good job of reducing risk factors because there are 5 factors that can actually help most of us live 11 to 14 years longer, depending if you're male or female. And the reality is only about 8% of the population does them, from exercise to proper sleep to proper nutrition to actually making sure you have very limited alcohol. So as we look to the new definition of healthy aging, let's look at how we can incorporate function into our practices and assess it throughout a life course and then create a response to that. Because at the end of the day, it says time's up. So I'll leave you with this. When and how often do you assess function? And how do you make it so it's actually an engaging experience instead of a medical experience? Thank you.
Collin, thank you very much. I think he did a wonderful presentation. Give him a big round of applause, please. Time for us to invite our speakers back on stage for the Q&A. May we please have Susan Pinker and also Meena Ganesh, please. And Lakshmi once again will facilitate the Q&A before she wraps up our